Hey, Courtney, how you doing?
Hey, doing good. How are you?
I am amazing, amazing. Listen, I'm here, and you know we're on the CX Impact Tour, and I'm here actually in Tennessee at Society of Workforce Planning Professionals. And I mean, when I tell you, it's such amazing content being shared. And one of my favorite things that I'm hearing right now is how workforce leaders are being brought into that conversation around how the workforce is changing, how executives are really putting a focus on AI and how it's changing the dynamics of like how many people we need, when do we need them, and how the workplace around humans, AI are all really kind of circling each other to bring the outcomes that organizations are needing around like customer experience. And so I'm super, super excited because I know this is going to be something that you and I are going to be talking about when we go to Vegas, CCW Vegas in June. What are you hearing, while you're out and you're attending different conferences, and what are you hearing from customers around, like how the workforce is shifting?
Yeah, and great question. I was at CX Expo last week, and
Oh,
I heard
yeah.
the same type of things, right? I mean, obviously, as companies continue to embrace AI, that takes certain types of calls out of the mix, which then changes the arrival patterns, right? Which becomes a workforce challenge, which is probably what you're hearing about. But it really drives the need for a more fractional solution because they have to be able to layer in people where they need them based on how AI is changing those call arrival patterns, depending on what kind of calls are now being self-service or any of those other topics. So it's been really cool to kind of hear, how all of this is changing, everything at large. And obviously companies want to reduce costs and maintain customer experience. And so, they're just really finding creative ways to layer humans in with those AI advancements.
Yeah, I think it's so cool because I don't know if it's just because I'm a workforce geek or what, because I've been talking about this for at least the last 10 years about, I've been calling it gig, scheduling, and how the workforce is like, when we saw the rise of like Ubers and Door Dashes and organizations like that, I'm like, listen, consumerism is changing the way we consume products and services, which means the way we supply, right? The way we supply that demand of customer is changing because that's all workforce management is at its real core. Workforce is about aligning your resources with the demand of your customer. So your customer calls, emails, chats, walks into the store, they're producing a demand. And now the job of the organization, usually the workforce management team, is about aligning the resources, the right resources, whether that's AI, humans, robots, machines, right, with that customer need, and the most pairing the right resource with the right customer need. And so I've been talking about like gig scheduling for like the last 10 years, and to see this in fruition, like happening in real life, I'm like, I told you guys. And so I think that's why I'm so super excited about Vegas for us to actually really like get a chance to sit down and talk about this fractional support. And what you said is how we layer in the right resource, whether that is human, whether that's AI, how do we layer in those resources in the right place? And that's what I love so much about the fractional support of how we can layer in humans with Omni.
100%. And I think, the other side of that is the labor market's changed, right? Just as with the rise of Uber and Lyft and DoorDash and all these other companies, people want to work gigs. They want that type of gig work where they're choosing their own schedules. They piece it together how they want to. And so that's changed the labor market in terms of the type of people that want to work, let's say, a gig contact center type of opportunity versus those that want to work, the traditional 8 to 5 or 8-hour shifts that they are assigned to them. And so I get excited too, because even from the standpoint of the person, answering the phones or chats or emails, right? It's such a better opportunity for them to choose their own schedules, choose a client that they're real excited about or a company they're
Yeah.
excited about. And then the quality of service just improves, with better people and and more enthusiasm.
Yeah, what I love so much about the fractional support or the gig economy is you almost put the employee in that CEO seat, right?
Yes.
Because now they're able to work on projects that they're passionate about. They're able to work with clients that they're passionate about. They're able to work when they need. And so you automatically, just because I want to be here, get a better experience, a higher service of support for your customer, right? Because I actually want to be here. I'm not burnt out. If I know I can only handle, 60 minutes of work at a time before I start getting agitated, guess what? That's what I'm going to book, right? So you kind of put that employee in that CEO seat. And I absolutely love that for employee experience. But I also love that for customer experience, because now as a customer, I'm not talking to somebody who doesn't. You ever been to a drive-through or been to a place where the employee really didn't want to be there? And you're like, well, if you don't want to be there, find another job. Well, it's not that easy, right? It's
Right.
not that easy when you don't have the model for people to find the work that they actually want to be on. But when people are equipped, empowered, and engaged, they show up at a much different level and capacity for the work that they're doing. And I love that for our workforce right now.
No doubt. I love that for our customers and for, every single one of us who interacts, right, with a customer service team, that, yeah, you want someone who's enthusiastic and excited and ready to solve your issue. I mean, no one calls in to say, hey, everything's going great, thanks again for your products, right? Everyone has an issue or a challenge or something that needs to be solved. And so, yeah, having someone that's engaged and enthusiastic about doing that means everything to a brand.
Yeah, it can really change how people perceive your brand, for sure.
Exactly.
Well, I was just wanting to catch up with you really quickly while I'm out here on the road. Again, I'm out here talking to customer experience leaders. I'm out here talking to workforce management leaders. I was like, yeah, I'm so excited to catch up with Courtney in Vegas and kind of talk through more of these case studies, real life scenarios of how organizations are using fractional support in real time, because I think that's one of the questions that I'm getting asked a lot, and I hear people that's bubbling up to the top is like, okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around this fractional support thing. Like, how do we actually manage this? How do we ensure that we actually have the support for our customer when we need? So I am so excited for us to be diving into that at Vegas.
Same. I cannot wait, and it'll be great to dive in further and see what we hear between now and then.
All right. Well, listen, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. But I'm super excited to connect with you in Vegas.
Sounds good. We'll see you then.
See you soon. Bye.